Waterhouse are drowning fast, Dunbeholden got their redemption, and More Pleasant makes it lucky 13. But we start one place and one place only, and that's at the Anthony Spalding Complex, where Arnett showed the Lions who's the king of the jungle. This is Match Week 21 Review Show. Yes, people, welcome back to JPL Fun. The games are coming thick and fast, but don't worry, we still got a full review for you guys right here. Starting as promised, in the jungle, where Arnett was hosting Humble Lion. Now for the starting lineup for the home team, they made at least 3 changes. Shavani Willis was back in the squad, along with Richard Andrews, and the big news, of course, is a change in goal as Jonathan Wall has given his debut in between the sticks. As for Humble Lion, they also made 3 changes as well. Lamar Neal is back in the team. We also get a sighting of Gerald Neal Jr., as well as Clear Clark was back in the starting 11. No, try not to blink, you will miss the first goal. Literally before Humble Lion can even touch the ball, they were 1-0 down. Some decent build-up play around the Humble Lion box saw the ball reaching Willis at the top of the D, and he decided to take a right-footed shot that went into the back of the net. 50 seconds on the clock and the Jugglers are already leading, 1-0. That would be the catalyst for one of the most breathtaking and crazy first half we'll see in the league this season, as Humble Lion immediately from kickoff trying to get back on parity, but Arnett defense did just enough to keep them out. But the party wasn't over there. Just down the other end after all of that, Warner Brown got a big chance to make it 2, but he couldn't chip the keeper. Then Richard Andrews himself got a decent chance at the angle, but blazed it over the bar. Humble Lion would also come back again after that themselves to try and get something going. Clear Clark tested Wool in goal, but he couldn't get past him. And after we go straight down the other end again, this time with Kelson sticking the palms of Harrison in goal. The cameraman, the commentators, and the fans honestly couldn't keep up with his pace, as both teams were just attacking each other as if they were 2 heavyweights slugging it out in the boxing ring. A prime example of this is when Kelson again got a shot off at Harrison goal, but Sahib saved it before he launched Clear Clark on the opposite end on the counter, who did well to sell Watson up a river but could not get his shot on target. There was simply not a chance for anybody to catch him breath. But with all his attacking flair, it would have been a real shame if we didn't get another goal in the first half. Kelso had the ball here on the right hand side, this time to screw up his defender before doing a good decent left footed shot. Harrison did fairly well to parry the shot, but it fell just neatly for Warner Brown right there on the doorstep to tuck it home. 2-0, and finally we got another goal in this crazy first half. And can you believe it, there was still chance for another one. Jaheim Thomas was played in on the right hand side, and at the angle he just had to beat Harrison but failed to do so, and Humble Lion almost went into the break 3-0 down. So you would think with that kind of pace in the first half, the second half would slow down a bit, and it kinda did, but only because Arnett killed off the contest much earlier than anticipated. Phil Underwood was substituted at halftime for Edwards, and basically the first thing he did in the match was to come down the left wing and draw a penalty. A big chance for Arnett to kill off the game. Jaheim Thomas would be the man to do so. He tucked away his penalty shot, and now Arnett are already 3-0 up. They were basically going cruise control after that and control majority of the ball, as Humble Lion was still trying to pluck away to at least get 1 goal on the board. But then a young 17-year-old would come into the game and steal the show. Assistant coach and longtime JPL legend Fabian Taylor, 17-year-old son Giovanni, will enter the game in the 68th minute, and then before you know it, he will be on the scoreboard. A free kick just outside the box, the youngster decided to take the shot, and it's a good thing he did. The ball curled somehow through the wall and into the back of the net. 4-0, and it was a feel-good story for both son and father. Humble Lion, for their credit, was still trying to get something on the board as they would test Wall in goal, but just couldn't get past him. Then the young 17-year-old did this. A no-look pass to his legendary captain Fabian Reed, who of course gave him back, and the young man decided to call him shot once again and pulled off a near post shot that got past Harrison and into the back of the net. 5-0, and this kid probably thinking big man football is kinda easy. At least Stephen Barnett will be on hand to keep his good form going and take the shame out of the Lions' eyes when from a corner the ball was played in and he was shamelessly all alone to tuck away 1 goal for the Lions. But honestly, the game was already dead at this moment, and Arnett wrapped up all 3 points with a 5-1 win. So the night couldn't go any more perfect for the Junglists, but holds the game in numbers. Arnett dominated possession, of course. They had 56% compared to Humber Lions 44. Arnett had 22 total shots compared to 13 from the Lions. 9 of those were on target for the Junglists, while 4 was on target for the Lions. 73 dangerous attacks for Arnett Guns and 51 dangerous attacks for Humber Lion. 9 corners in favor of the home team and 5 corners in favor of the visitors. Yeah, so let me talk about Humber Lion first in this one. They showed some promise in their last game, as well as they put up a decent fight in their first half, but they missed too much of their chances and they simply paid the price. As for Arnett Guns, the night couldn't go any better. Probably at least a goal for Fabian Reed will make the cherry on top, but honestly, everything went perfect. They got to rest some of the key players, a new starlet is born, and they got 5 in the back of the net. All this happening as well with Warner Brown and Kibarni Arboin being called up to the national team. What a perfect day for the Junglists. Anyway, once again it finishes Arnett Guns 5, Humber Lion 1. No, we got 6 goals in that game, but unfortunately, for the game that was played before it could have used some of it. Cavalier was taking on Tivoli Guns at the Anthony Spalding Complex, and here's the starting lineup for Cavalier. Shaquille Stein was back in the starting 11, so it Alexander Gooden, but the big surprise for me is that Justin Dunn, who is on loan from Tivoli Guns, was able to play against his parent club. While Tivoli looked mostly unchanged, but they welcomed Steve Clark back into the thick of things and will look to the likes of Lennox Russell to try find some goals in his new position of number 9. So when the game kicked off, Cavalier were the more dominant and were creating more of the half chances, but on plays like this one, they should have really done better. The same could be said for Tivoli, because after that they started dominating the ball a bit and carved up some real good chances for themselves to also go on the scoreboard. But when you see a miss like this from Steve Clark, it kind of got the impression that no one will be scoring today. It got even worse after that. After a bit of head tennis, saw the ball landed to Barton Price on the back post, all free, and somehow he siphoned the ball past the gaping goal. That all happened at the stroke of the halftime too. Absolutely a shocking miss. Second half though, Cavalier will find their groove again and they will create much better of the chances. Calvin will be surprised he didn't score here. He did everything right. He took the ball down on his left, cut in and popped the shot between the defender's legs, but Harden got done well to par the shot off for safety. Richard King will be next to try his luck from 20 yards out, but again it was not on target. Cavalier will keep on probing, although most of the second half, both teams kind of cancel on each other and chances again were at a premium. But there was another big chance for Calvin when some mix-up at the back for Tivoli. Saw him got in on the tight angle, but he flashed it past the back post and just failed to squeak it in past Harton. But the last kick and save of the game will go to Tivoli. A Radica Wellington free kick right here, just narrowly missed wide, and that will sum up the game where many chances just went begging. The game would end 0-0 and yet another draw between these two teams. Alright, so it seemed that there were some effort to get some goals in, but how was the game in terms of stats? Well, Cavalier had 47% of the possession, while Tivoli Guns managed to have 53. Cavalier had 6 total shots in the game, compared to Tivoli Guns' 8. Calvin was the lone person to get a shot on target for Cavalier, while Tivoli only had 1 shot on target as well. Cavalier only managed 27 dangerous attacks, compared to 29 by Tivoli Guns. 5 corners for Cavalier, 1 corner for Tivoli Guns. Okay, so let's start with the defending champs. It was more of a good news, bad news kind of thing. Let's start with the bad news. That's no 3 games without a win, and they'll be simply drawing too much of their games this season. But the good news, they finally got a clean sheet, so something for them to work on there. While Tivoli, their problem is very simple. Since Anthony Nelson got injured, they simply can't buy a goal. And John Waite already spoke after the match, saying they'll be looking for somebody to solve that problem. But anyway, for now, it finishes Cavalier 0, Tivoli Guns 0. So we move on from one drawn game to a team that's basically the drawn specialist. Portmore will be visiting Molynes at the Waterhouse Mini Stadium. In terms of the lineup for Molynes, schoolboy Devon Davis was back in the lineup. So was star striker Jason Wright, who comes in for the rested Peter McGregor. As for Portmore themselves, there's finally a start for Carndell Benbow as well as Orlando Russell, and newly minted national goalkeeper Benjamin Williams kept his spot in goal. Portmore would start off this game with more of the ball, but honestly, it wasn't really much happening for both teams in front of goal. The first half will be littered with half chances where the teams will get into the final third but lack the necessary quality to really get the ball rolling. Molynes could say had the best chance in that first half, but it was snuffed up by Williams on the doorstep. Halftime will come with both teams at 0-0. Credit to Portmore, they stepped it up big time in the second half and had majority of the better chances, especially this one here from the set piece that landed on the back post, and that was a big one that went over the bar. They will come again right after that with another big chance with the keeper out of his net, but they just couldn't get past the wall of yellow. Molynes was more looking for counters in this half and create numerous half chances for themselves, but again the quality was lacking for them to get one goal on the board. This back and forth will continue for a while with both teams scoring their half chances until Portmore will come the closest of anyone to get something on the board with this nice shot here in the box, but Dunbeholden did well to get that out for safety. There would be one more decent chance for Portmore towards the end of the game, which again they squandered, and after that the game would end in goose eggs for everybody as it was a 0-0 draw. So it was a stalemate. How was the game in terms of numbers? Molynes had 48% of possession compared to 52% from Portmore United. According to these stats, Molynes only attempted 2 total shots the entire game, which is pitiful, compared to Portmore's 6. No shot was on target for Molynes, while Portmore had the 1 shot on target, where Dunbeholden had to come up big. Molynes also had 20 dangerous attacks compared to 49 dangerous attacks for Portmore United, 2 corners for Molynes, and 8 corners for Portmore United. Alright, this start with Molynes here. Their offense is a bit stuttering lately. Peter McGregor and Jason Wright are not finding the back of the net, and that's definitely affecting Molynes' output. But the good news as well is that their defense will much improve in the last couple of weeks. As for Portmore, Rudolph Austin said it best, he desperately needs anybody who could just put the ball in the back of the net consistently. Once again, it finishes Molynes United 0, Portmore United 0. So for our next game, we will look at one team that can't stop winning versus a team who just can't stop losing. It was more pleasant hosting Vere Phoenix United. In terms of the lineup for the home team, well, they're back to full strength as the likes of Daniel Green, Kimoni Bailey, Edwards, Anglin, Irving, Bradford, all in the squad to go against their opponents. As for Vere, they make some changes once again. We'll get a look at Marlon Cunningham in the team. Brazilian Marcus Reyes kept his spot. Trevon Salmon is back in the team as well, and K1 Watkins kept his spot in goal. Now, of course, with the 4 more pleasant on, if you are Vere, you would want to keep them off the board as long as they can, but they failed to do so by the 3rd minute. More pleasant would take the lead from a calming goal just like that. From there, they would completely dominate possession and had no trouble or fuss, just picking the ball about. But they were still missing that second goal, no matter how much they probed. And this is football, and the ball is round, so of course, out of nowhere, Robino Gordon will step up and give Vere an unlikely goal against the run of play in the 25th minute. 1-1, and just like that, Vere are in the game once again. Things will get back to worse for more pleasant in that half, as newly minted national team player Kimoni Bailey will go down with an injury and had to be substituted with Alex Marshall in the 35th minute. But just right after that, a good square from the right hand side was placed in the box and Bradford poured in a powerful header. That second goal they have been craving. 2-1, and all things are back to regular proceedings. Vere would hold out for the rest of the half, which ended at 2-1 into the break. Vere made some changes at halftime, bringing in Destiny and Parchment, but honestly, right out of the tunnel, it didn't make much change to the flow of the game, as the men in blue were simply dominant. But they had to rely on the same old formula to find their 3rd goal. A corner placed into the box, some chaos happening, and Vere just simply failing to clear it, see the ball land to McCullough, who tucked away and gave More Pleasant their 3rd goal. How many times we have seen it that Captain Fantastic simply finds a goal from a set piece. From there, Tapper does what he usually do when he's leading by so many goals and makes some changes, including Jamari Nolan coming into the squad for Daniel Green. Things will go into a bit of a slumber here, where More Pleasant they simply look to control the game, while Vere already seemed that they were ready to go home. But there was still some time for some drama to be happening. More Pleasant draw a penalty in the 79th minute, and they gave their youngster Nolan a chance to get on the score sheet, which he duly obliged by taking care of the penalty. 4-1, and of course by now, More Pleasant are simply out of sight. But the drama didn't end there. Carlton Brown managed to pick up his second yellow card 3 minutes later to get his marching orders, so he now was out of the game. And that would be really the last action of any note really. More Pleasant walked out of Jacksall with 13 wins in a row. So Vere had a tough game, but how was it in terms of the stats? Well, we don't have possession this time, but you can imagine More Pleasant dominated there. We do know that they had 12 total shots in the game compared to only 2 from Vere Phoenix United. More Pleasant also had 6 of those on target compared to only 1 from Vere Phoenix United. 5 corners from More Pleasant, and of course they scored from 1 compared to 1 from Vere Phoenix United. 1 yellow card for the home team in the game, 5 yellow card for Vere Phoenix United. And of course, 2 of those turned into a red for Carlton Brown, who was ejected out of the game. Alright, let's start with More Pleasant because it's very simple. 13 wins in a row, and they simply just look unbeatable. There is better hope that they don't burn out their wins and luck before playoff time. As for Vere, man, it's getting worse and worse. They do have Tyreek McGee coming in, but it seems that they're going to need a whole new batch of cavalry to get some wins on the board. So once again, it finishes More Pleasant 4, Vere Phoenix United 1. So Waterhouse entered this game after a surprise 3-0 thrashing at home to Chapelton Maroons, and will be looking to right those wrongs, but they traveled to take on the second best team in the league in their backyard. In terms of the lineup for Montego Bay, 33-year-old Owen Garden was given a rest because of so much match back-to-back, and Johan readily comes in to replace him. Daniel Reid was also in the team, but the big news as well was the return of Brazilian Ferreira for his first start since returning in January. In terms of Waterhouse, John Wilson kept his spot in the team despite some goalkeeper errors last time out, and there was also a rare start for Elvis Wilson back in the squad. So Waterhouse would want to get something out of this game after what happened in Jerusalem a couple of days ago, but Mobe started much better on the ball. They dominated basically for majority of the first half, notching up some impressive chances that they just simply failed to take. Waterhouse did have one brief moment of retaliation, but they did not produce a goal from that small amount of pressure. Mobe would wrestle ball control after that and was simply probing until they find the opening goal, but Waterhouse kind of helped them there when Wilson conceded a penalty and Mobe was sent to the spot. Of course, the informed Chanel Thomas was on hand to tuck it away to give him and Mobe the lead in the 31st minute. Waterhouse didn't even get a chance to really retaliate after that. Mobe kept on coming in efforts to double their lead before the halftime break. Waterhouse held on as much as they could, but in the 45 minutes, Reid did some good work to run into the box from the right hand side before cutting back on his left, float the ball into a back post to find the head of a free Ferreira, who did well to head it towards goal and into the back of the net. 2-0 and a crushing blow to Waterhouse right at the stroke at half time. But credit against the Waterhouse, they came out for the second half in a much better mood, in a much fighting mood, and had more of the possession and came at Montego Bay much better. But they would need a goal to really make Montego Bay sweat in hopes of making a great comeback, while Mobe would probably feel a little bit nervous and just know that the third goal will kill them off. And they got it in the 72nd minute. Some good build-up play at the top of the Waterhouse box, so the ball played down the left-hand channel for Weatherly, and despite a bit of a cute angle, he blasted the ball at the near post, beating Wilson and into the back of the net. 3-0 at this point, and Mobe probably could feel that they can put their feet up and believe all 3 points are in the bag. Right after that though, Waterhouse I guess was still trying to salvage some pride and came at Mobe right down the other end and produced a decent goal where substitute Mario Sims managed to get Firehouse Nation on the board. But that's all Waterhouse would get after that, as Mobe wrestled back possession and tried to kill the game off, and that's what they did as the final whistle would blow and Mobe enjoy another victory here at Catching All. So Waterhouse another disappointing defeat for them, but will the numbers show they at least put up a fight? In terms of possession, Montego Bay had more than 59% compared to 41% from Waterhouse. Now, just to emphasize how dominant Montego Bay was in that first half, they had 21 total shots in the game, and I'm telling you, majority of those come in the first 45, while Waterhouse only managed 4 total shots in the game. Mobe also was pretty accurate at 8 shots on target compared to 3 on target for Waterhouse. Mobe had 52 dangerous attacks compared to 28 from Waterhouse. 6 corners to Montego Bay, 4 corners to Firehouse Nation. Alright, so let's start with Montego Bay here. I know they would be fairly disappointed that they didn't manage to score at least 1 goal in Portmore a couple of days ago, but they're just simply a different breed here in Catching All. While at Waterhouse, they might be a little pressure now on Marcel Gale. They have not been playing well in recent weeks, and this is another tough loss for them. Anyway, once again it ended Montego Bay 3, Waterhouse 1. Now, as we stated before, the Maroons were the one that embarrassed Waterhouse on their own pitch, and they will look to be doing the same again when they take on struggling Dunbeholden. In terms of the starting lineup for the Maroons, well, they were practically unchanged from the impressive win, which is no surprise, so we'll get a better look on the goal scorer than Watson. While Dunbeholden had a shocking performance against Harbour last time out, and coach Harold Thomas made few changes, Tyrese Winter and Ricardo Beckford are the big changes into the squad. Now, when the game kicked off, it seemed the Maroons were still dreaming about that victory they had in Jerusalem a couple of days ago because they started completely slow and very sloppy, especially in defense that led to Dunbeholden getting numerous chances to get themselves an early lead. Maroons did survive for a while and you think that would have weighted them up, but nope, a simple ball roll out by Prince Daniel Smith to the impressive youngster Nathaniel Howe, who lazy back pass to his defender was picked on by Thomas before Dwight Merrick took over, ran into the box and obviously got a free net to shoot at and duly obliged. 1-0 to Dunbeholden, and it was the Maroons' own downfall in the early beginnings. They finally came to life after that and was trying to get something back as soon as they can and went at a Dunbeholden team that was happy to sit back and see what they could do. But they deserve a chance from the spot. A ball was played into the box after some good work by the Chapelton team, so the ball found Howe in the middle of the box, who was able to dance a bit and get a shot on target, but an arm from the Dunbeholden player deflected off a corner. Now, there have been recent calls for Vere to be introduced into the league, and it's a shame it wasn't available for this game, because that could have been seen as a clear penalty not given. Chapelton brushed that aside though and come on Dunbeholden again and create a decent chance here where they stung the palms of Hyatt but could not get past him. This cat and mouse game would continue for the rest of the first half. Dunbeholden was resolute in their 5-4-1 formation and invited Chapelton to try to break them down as much as they can, but the Maroons failed to do so before the first time whistle. Second half, Dunbeholden tried to make sure they kept things safe and had majority of the possession right out of the tunnel, but I'm quite sure many Dunbeholden fans were probably wondering how they'll get the second goal playing so deep in their own box. Well, the obvious answer was to shoot from half line, of course. Look at this goal, guys. After some weak play again by Howe in the middle of the park, saw the ball at Nicoy Christian's feet. He looked up and see Prince Daniel Smith out of his goal and he decided to try his luck and it managed to went in. A big goal to give Dunbeholden some cushion, and of course, that's immediately one of the goals of the season. 2-0 to Dunbeholden and they're now in cruise control. They went a bit into their shell after that and again invited Chapelton to do their best to try and break it down. Chapelton simply could not find an answer during this period, but Dunbeholden will find himself a third. Some horrible defending once more saw DeAndre Thomas not only flip the ball in the air and collect it back to himself, but also got a free time to control it, look up and slot a powerful shot into the back of the net. 3-0, and you must feel it for Jermaine Douglas on a Maroons bench must be wondering what the hell his defenders were doing. But there will be no clean sheet from the men from Portmore. Some good work by Brown on the left hand side, tee up Deacon to do his thing as he ran down to the byline in the box before squaring it for new boy Marlon Allen, who did well to control it before swivel and turn and got the shot off into the back of the net. 3-1, and that will be consolation from the men from Clarendon. But the whistle will blow right after that and Dunbeholden got a massive 3 points to get them out of the relegation zone at least for a few more days. Alright, so some sloppy work in defense for the Maroons, but how was the game in terms of numbers? Well, Chapelton had 55% of possession compared to Dunbeholden's 45%. The Maroons had a tough time breaking down that back 5 and only had 6 shots in the entire game, while Dunbeholden did decent well on counters and had 9 total shots in the game. The Maroons only managed 2 on target, while Dunbeholden managed to have 4 on target. Chapelton had 74 dangerous attacks, while Dunbeholden had 62. 10 corners to the Maroons and 1 corner to Dunbeholden. So alright, let's start with the Maroons first. These are the type of inconsistency that plagues them and lead them a little bit still too close to the relegation zone. As for Dunbeholden, major credit has to be given to the players. They looked down and out against Harbour just last week, but they did well to bounce back here and get an impressive win, and also really one that was on the road. So again guys, it finished Chapelton Maroons 1, Dunbeholden 3. The last team that destroyed Dunbeholden was the Stars of the East, Harbour. They will be looking to try to get a back-to-back victory for the first time in months when they travel to take on the informed Racing United at the Anthony Sporting Complex. In terms of the starting lineup, Racing was largely unchanged after the impressive win against Vere, which meant that goalkeeper Swearing kept his spot in between the sticks despite Holmes back from suspension. As for Harbour, of course, it was an impressive win they got against Dunbeholden, so the coach looked like he stuck with majority of the players, so their squad was also fairly unchanged for this encounter. Now, at the start of the game, Harbour dominated possession for the first 6 minutes and was looking a bit better in possession. But while it took some time, Racing finally found their passing groove and it was now the ones who were dominating possession and coming forward at the Harbour much better. But we had to wait till the 21st minute for the first goal of the game. Some good work right here. Saw the release of Ronaldo Biggs at the top of the box. He still had some work to do to get past Stewart, but the lucky bounce was into his favor and he decided to crack a shot from 20 yards out. It was good enough to beat Anthony Bennett in the Harbour goal and into the back of the net. A big goal for the man named called Biggs. But they had a chance to double the lead not long after that. Nikhil Ellis is also on superb form and he raced away here down the middle, but should have done better to at least get his shot on target. 1-0 the game remained. But Harbour did well to try and come back into the game and was now start to carve up some decent chances of their own. They test Swearing at his near post before Priestley got a decent shot at the top of the D as well, but his one went over the bar. But Harbour probably smelled that the goal was coming before the half and pushed a lot of men forward, which meant that Racing had a lot of space to counter, and they had a big breakaway here where Biggs and Ellis teamed up to give Biggs a good chance right here on the angle, but Priestley did well to come back and got it out for safety. That would be basically the last action before the halftime whistle. Second half though, Harbour had a decent spell of possession right out of the tunnel, but Racing were carving up the better chances on the counter especially. Biggs returned the favor to Ellis with a good looping pass in behind right here, and Ellis trying to do what he did last week against Vere and trying to chip the keeper into the back of the net, but this time it spun wide. Moments after that, Biggs himself would get another big chance, was all alone in the box, but somehow sent his header over the bar. Harbour would also later create a big chance of their own as a good square came into the box, and Murray should have done better to get his head on target, but again it went over safety. After that, the game tempo slowed a bit as Racing was looking to disrupt Harbour flow, and we had to wait some time before Harbour created another massive chance. This came after some chaos in the box as the ball floated over all the way to the left hand side to Timor Lewis, who steered a good shot at goal, but Swearing with his lanky arms was able to tip it onto the post and then able to collect it for safety. Now that was definitely one of the better saves of the season. Harbour was determined to get a point out of this game though, and they once again will come down the right hand side with a nice ball floated into the box, this time for veteran Andre Fagan, who pulled off a nice volley, but unfortunately it went straight to Swearing. Time was running out for the Stars of the East, which means there was a carbon copy of what happened at the end of the first half. They were pushing men forward, which meant that a lot of space was available for Racing to counter. Right here they basically had 4 or 3 against 2. And when Biggs was played in right here with a 1-on-1 with Bennett, we all expected the net to ripple, but instead it was the crossbar that would be left shaking. A good game by Biggs, but he should at least have a hat-trick. Harbour would end the game trying the very best to get something out of it, but the whistle would eventually blow and stop their efforts. 1-0 to Racing, but it wasn't an easy encounter. So a decent game on the field, but how was it on paper? Let's look at possessions now. Racing had 46% of possession compared to 54% from Harbour. In terms of total attempts, Racing managed to have 5 compared to 10 from the Stars of the East. Racing only managed to have 2 of those on target compared to 4 from Harbour. 0 corners in the game for Racing, and there was 10 from Harbour as they failed to score from any of them. Alright, let's start with Racing first. Major props to Anthony Patrick and his men. That's the first time all season they have won 3 games in a row. As for Harbour View, they look much better with the influx of returning players in the squad, but again, they fail to score from the run of play. That is simply the last thing they have to fix to make sure they don't get relegated. But anyway, once again, it finishes Racing United 1, Harbour View 0. Okay, with match week 22 just around the corner, let's look at the table very quickly. Mount Pleasant are in first, of course, with 52 points. Montego Bay are in second with 44 points. Arnett are now in third with 42 points. Portmore sit okay in fourth with 35 points. Cavalier are close to them with 34 points in fifth. And for now, Waterhouse hold off the last playoff spot with 33 points. Tivoli failed to make up ground in the last couple of weeks with 27 points in 7th. Racing are looking comfortable in mid-table with 25 points in 8th. Molynes have 22 points for their 9th spot. Chapelton have 20 points for 10th. Dunbeholden are out of relegation for now with 19 points in 11th spot. Vere are edging closer to relegation. They have 17 points in 12th. Stars of the East are back in the red zone with 16 points, and Humble Lion have much work to do with 14 points at the foot of the table. As I said here, match week 22 starts Sunday. Here are the fixtures real quick. Portmore will be hosting Humble Lion. Dunbeholden will also be hosting Montego Bay United. Chapelton will welcome the visit of Racing United. The Stars of the East, Harbour View, welcome the visit of Mount Pleasant. Waterhouse are back in Jerusalem against Molynes United. And then the Monday nighters, the big grudge match returns with Vere taking on Cavalier, and the West Kingston derby with Tivoli playing home against Arnett Gardens. But yeah, that's it all from this latest match week 21 review show. Please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on everything in the JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, with great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL Fun. YouTube, big up yourself.